Today on Investigate TV Plus, groundbreaking technology helping close cold cases. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. We have rare access to one of the most advanced DNA labs in the world. See the work that's helping solve crimes and bring families closure.
That's the purpose. Can you give someone their name back? Can you piece them back to their story, to what happened to them?
Plus, an alternative way to manage pain and anxiety.
Anything that's giving you tangible relief is huge.
An in-depth look at the natural therapy some patients say is changing their lives.
I couldn't even put it into words how much it helped.
And a connection over cupcakes.
As soon as we hugged each other, it was like we'd known each other forever.
How an act of kindness helps a grieving mother heal.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Advances in DNA technology are helping crack the most difficult cases.
And there's a private lab in Texas that's transforming how victims and suspects are identified. Aam Labs specializes in forensic-grade genome sequencing, a process that involves building a DNA profile from a tiny sample. Dr. Kristen Middleman says Aam helped uncover details that have been hidden for decades.
We worked the Opelika Jane Doe case out of Alabama. The skeleton was between 3 and 6 years old.
The lab identified her remains as Amori Wiggins. First, they found her father, but Dr. Middleman says he claimed he didn't have a child, so they used genealogy to find Amori's mother. And they learned she lost custody of her daughter at the age of 19.
The court thought that the child was safer with him. She was still paying child support to the father because she thought her daughter was still alive.
A police investigation then revealed what happened.
He brutally beat that child and killed her and continued to collect child support for 11 years after that. He confessed to murder. As a mother, that case got to me in a way that I can't describe.
There's another case that stays with Dr. Middleman, a case that seemed unsolvable in Texas.
Sherry Ann Jarvis, she was the Walker County Jane Doe. People knew her because this was one of the most horrific crimes against a child.
On Halloween Day in 1980, her body was found dumped on the side of a Texas highway.
She was mutilated so much that she was unrecognizable. There were no remains left by the time that we got involved in this case.
All they had was a small slide left from the autopsy that had a tiny amount of human tissue on it, treated with chemicals.
We worked diligently for almost a year on the research side of the lab with mock casework, mock DNA, to try to be able to work with that kind of input until we could. Then we moved it over to the forensic side of the lab and were able to give Sherry her name back.
Aam is now worldwide, making identifications in Canada, Australia, the UK, and other parts of Europe.
So just how do they do it? Reporter Brianna Whitney got an exclusive tour of the process.
This isn't like building a company or making an incremental change to something. This is like reinventing an entire field.
This is Aam.
Is anybody else in the world doing what Aam's doing?
Not that I know of. Not to this extent. I think we're going to actually see cold cases converge to extinction.
Kristen and David Middleman have a medical background and realized they could use their knowledge and expertise for forensic-grade genome sequencing. And that's what changed everything when it came to DNA identification. Just outside Houston, in the Woodlands, you'll find their lab, now sought after by law enforcement agencies across the world.
We've gone from people giving us the most impossible case to work because this sounded like crazy science, a few years ago, to people actually giving us their entire backlog of cases.
Aam's work is now in headline after headline, but I wanted to go inside the lab to learn how this works. This is the definition of high tech, and the whole process is done under one roof, starting here.
This is our forensic lab here at Aam. There's a vestibule where they'll get dressed up, suited up from head to toe, so when they're working with this evidence, there's no contamination.
Step 1, DNA extraction.
Starts here with DNA extraction. As they move down, they cannot come back. They'd have to go home and shower for the day.
Step 2, the feasibility room.
We assess the properties of that DNA from that crime scene, and we decide on whether or not we're certain that we can actually build a DNA profile.
If not, they'll put it on a hold shelf and work to advance their own technology before trying it. Step 3, and one of the coolest parts.
This is our bone room. I think they're starting to work on a bone right now.
New evidence had just arrived that morning. The lab tech pulled out a femur right in front of us.
Now they're going to extract the DNA from that piece of bone.
They take pictures of everything.
These are all in case this ever goes to court. So she's documenting the whole process.
Step 4.
Where are we at here?
This is our library prep room. And now we're going to get the best pictures we can from that DNA that came from that crime scene.
DNA is transferred across the lab through a tiny door.
We will pass it through that little silver door.
So it literally goes through that door.
It literally goes through the door. And people don't move because once they move, like I told you, it's unidirectional. They'll have to go home, shower, and come back.
So they're basically stuck in one room at a time until they fully...
Ready, committed to go to the next place. Wow.
The last step of the forensic side, the DNA sequencer.
That is one of the most powerful sequences on Earth. It's taken the most powerful genomics techniques and applied them to forensics for the very, very first time. The blue is it's running. There's a cycle going right now. It's sequencing, and the green is it's pending the sequence.
That's where the next phase comes into play, with Carla Davis, their chief genetic genealogist.
I got into genetic genealogy in 2016 when I was searching for my biological father.
She took a DNA test and found a third cousin match.
DNA is what brought him to life. Unfortunately, he's deceased, but that is what gave me the answers. After I identified my biological father, I was hooked.
Now, Davis is the key to the next part of solving these cold cases after the DNA is sequenced.
Once it's uploaded, then it comes to my department, and that's when the genealogists, they begin work on the case. We use DNA to discover the ancestors of the person that we're trying to identify.
They use 3 ancestry databases, GEDmatch, Family Tree, and their own, DNA Solves.
I work to identify all the siblings. The parent of match number 1 is actually a half sibling to this set of children.
She showed us the visual process of trying to find a familial match. Sometimes a distant match, even a 6th cousin, has cracked a case.
That was the one key match to pull the case together.
So it can be that crazy.
It can be that crazy.
And not all cases take the same amount of time to solve.
So the shortest time was about 2 hours.
And what's the longest you've dealt with?
We have a case going on a year.
Davis then gives the match to the law enforcement agency investigating the case as a lead, and it's up to them to confirm the identity Davis and her team have found of either a victim or a suspect. Othram has one shot to get this all right.
The DNA that is on here is put on a slide, so it's fixed on a slide, it's just liquid, and then that's consumed. That's why this test is a destructive process.
All the work is documented and tracked from beginning to end.
Does that make it much more likely to be admissible because you can show that chain of custody?
That's exactly right.
In 2019, Othram made 5 identifications total. In 2023, they've made more than 1,200 identifications, sometimes 5 in a day.
There are perpetrators out there that have been arrested or are in trial right now that are not able to harm their next victim.
All of the sudden, what they do behind the scenes is launched into the public spotlight. And then the emotional journey begins.
That's the purpose. Can you give someone their name back? Can you piece them back to their story, to what happened to them, and give their family the answers they need to move on?
Texas Senator John Cornyn wants to create grant funding in an effort to make this cutting-edge DNA analysis more widely available. The bill is called the Carla Walker Act. It's named for a Fort Worth native whose killer was found 46 years after her death with the help of this technology. He says the goal is solve more cold cases, bring families closure, and even exonerate the wrongly accused suspects. In Phoenix, Arizona, I'm Brianna Whitney.
Forensic investigative genetic genealogy works to find the closest relative. That's typically a third cousin. Genealogy websites estimate the average person has nearly 200 third cousins, but for a family in Missouri, a match was made through a victim's nephew.
The family was very mad at him.
Your uncle's sisters and his mother died thinking
Yes.
he was still out there.
Thinking that he was missing.
Thanks to the help of Othram, the family learned that was far from the case. To learn more about how DNA technology works and the surprising twist in the Missouri case, just head to InvestigateTV.com and search for forensic genealogy.
Still to come, claims of relief for cancer patients.
Just being able to kind of calm down, to go to sleep at night, and then to lessen some of just the everyday tension that I felt.
An in-depth look at the remedy that some experts say can help ease their pain.
But first, another reason to read the fine print.
At first glance, it looked legitimate.
An offer in the mail reeled people into presentations.
Not only was it asking us for money, but it was asking us for our routing number and account number.
But experts explain why they couldn't catch the free cruise. If you're thinking about taking a vacation, you're probably not the only one eyeing a cruise.
According to the Cruise Lines International Association, in 2023, the intent to cruise was higher than it was in 2019 before the pandemic.
Of course, where there is interest, there is probably someone looking to capitalize.
Reporter Brendan Tierney has an in-depth look at what you can do if that offer looks too good to be true.
That's St. Kitts in that corner.
Marion Brown's walls are covered by photos of travels with her late husband, Philip.
We went to the top of one of the Alps.
Memories to last a lifetime, including cruises they took with family.
Those were fantastic trips, both of them.
So when she opened her mailbox and found this flyer offering a free cruise just for attending an information session, she jumped at the opportunity.
At first glance, it looked legitimate.
But Marion says something didn't seem right when she called the travel company and they knew nothing about the offer.
She said, "That's a scam. That is not us." And this all makes me really angry.
Marion ended up not going to the presentation in Franklin, but Bill Munson and his wife went after being mailed this similar invitation.
They made a lot of promises in the presentation with not a lot of meat.
Bill was hoping to take his family on what he describes as a bucket list experience. After sitting through the 90-minute session, he went to sign up for the free trip.
Not only was it asking us for money, but it was asking us for our routing number and account number.
The Better Business Bureau says there might be fees associated with a trip that's advertised as free. So you should always look at the entire offer.
Take your time, read all of the fine print before moving forward, especially if they're saying something's free.
And if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Marion feels bad for people who wasted their time and even their money.
If they've never been on a nice trip before, it would certainly be disappointing.
We found the company listed under several names and we reached out to them for a response but have not heard back. The Better Business Bureau says you should always investigate any offers you get in the mail before pursuing it any further. In Nashville, I'm Brendan Tierney.
And it's not just the mail you have to think about. It can pay to do your homework when trying to book a trip online.
Yeah, the BBB says in 2023, its scam tracker tool saw an increase in travelers who were duped by look-alike booking websites.
What we're seeing is that maybe they are being redirected to another website that looks official, but they're not catching that, it's clearly not.
Garrett Smitherman with the BBB in Alabama says if you're unsure about the website or a reservation, call the airline or hotel to confirm. He explained that's how a couple discovered they had been scammed out of $1,000.
They then reached out to the actual hotel who confirmed that there was no reservation in their name, reached back out to who they booked with, and basically the people said, this is a non-refundable reservation. The best we can do is cancel it, but you're not getting your money back.
The BBB suggests you should stick with reputable booking sites.
And one of the easiest ways to see if you are on a secure site, check the toolbar for a lock symbol that's meant to indicate you're on a site that cannot be tampered with by a third party.
Coming up, a thoughtful act of remembrance inspires an unlikely friendship.
Hug your loved ones every day. Happy birthday to you. Love, Todd's mom. And the tears were flowing. It was just amazing.
Plus, a traditional Chinese remedy.
So I just kind of like warm up the point first, find where it is.
Being used to complement modern medicine.
Not great sleep, a lot of anxiety, and just a lot of tears.
Why a patient turned to acupuncture to relieve her chemotherapy symptoms. One in 2 men and 1 in 3 women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with cancer at some point during their lifetime.
However, the number of cancer survivors continues to increase due in part to advances in early detection and treatment. Federal data finds nearly 70% of patients survive 5 years or more after being diagnosed.
Cancer and its treatment options can take a toll on patients, both physically and emotionally. But some are turning to an alternative treatment for relief.
A 2023 study published by the American Cancer Society found that acupuncture may help alleviate pain and anxiety.
Reporter Carrie Beal spoke with a woman in Greenville, South Carolina, who blended traditional and modern methods to beat cancer.
It's really super thin and it's flexible like this.
Dr. Elizabeth Williams is a licensed acupuncturist.
So I just kind of like warm up the point first, find where it is.
She has been working with cancer patient Nicole Mechanic for more than a year.
I was nervous at first. It's funny that you mentioned fear of needles. I had a huge fear of needles. Yeah.
She found this unique therapy after being diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 29.
A lot of stress, not great sleep, a lot of anxiety, and just a lot of tears.
She immediately started chemotherapy.
It's toxic. It doesn't make you feel great. And then a lot of the medications that you take to help with chemo also don't make you feel great.
Her doctor recommended a few alternative therapies. One of them was acupuncture. She says it helped with her nausea, neuropathy, or tingling in her hands and feet, joint pain, sleep, and stress.
Just being able to kind of calm down, to go to sleep at night, and then to lessen some of just the everyday tension that I felt.
Dr. Williams says acupuncture activates the nervous system.
It's like you have a traffic jam in your nervous system, and so basically what I do is I go in and I find where the traffic jam is and I start to redirect traffic so that you've got a nice flow of blood, nerve impulses.
The goal is to create a chemical balance in hormones, neurotransmitters, and immune mediators.
If you've got a lot of pain, then acupuncture can help boost your body's own internal endorphins, which are like the body's natural pain relievers. And it works really well for immunity as well.
Nicole had a double mastectomy and says the emotional toll from cancer is far beyond what she expected. So finding some relief was important.
I couldn't even put it into words how much it helped. Just, with chemo, you feel so sick and you feel so unlike yourself. So anything that's giving you tangible relief is huge.
While studies have shown that acupuncture is effective for a variety of conditions, Johns Hopkins Medicine reminds it's not for everyone.
If you're interested in acupuncture, discuss it with your doctor first and try to find a licensed practitioner.
Up next,
She said, the person that paid for the cupcakes left this card.
a bond over a birthday treat that some believe is more than just a coincidence.
Oh my God, he was so involved in this. I do believe that he was involved in it.
People cope with loss in many different ways. For a mother in Missouri, she decided to celebrate her late son's birthday with an act of kindness.
Reporter Steve Harris shows us how a sweet surprise inspired happiness and healing.
When Crystal Birmingham picked up the cupcakes she ordered for her daughter's 9th birthday, she got a surprise.
She said, the person that paid for the cupcakes left this card.
The birthday treats had been paid for, but by who? The answer was written in the card.
Today is my son's 38th birthday, his 19th one in heaven. In memory of him, I paid for your cake. Please enjoy and make wonderful memories. Hug your loved ones every day. Happy birthday to you. Love, Todd's mom. And the tears were flowing. It was just amazing.
So who was Todd's mom? Her act of kindness meant so much to Crystal that she really wanted to find her. So she made a post on Facebook asking for help.
And it got over 1,300 likes and like 900 comments, and people were referring me to who they thought Todd's mom was.
I really, at first, really didn't want to be found.
That's Peggy Adkison, better known as Todd's mom. And this is her son, Todd.
Oh gosh, he was a neat kid. Yeah, so special. And we're very lucky we had him for 18 years. You know, there's some parents that don't get him for that long.
At 18 years old, Todd was killed in a car accident on April 3rd, 2004.
On his birthdays, I was just becoming more and more sad about it. I'm like, I got to change this. So then I started buying other people's birthday cakes.
An idea she got from a group she belongs to called Angel Parents.
The card that she got, that was my third one. It took me 3 tries to write it because the tears were flowing.
As soon as we hugged each other, it was like we'd known each other forever.
In a way, they had.
And come to find out, I knew Todd from school.
Crystal and Todd had gone to school together.
Every time we would see him, I would go, "What's up, Todd?" really loud, and he would like literally like.
Coincidence? Todd's mom doesn't think so.
Oh my God, he was so involved in this. I do believe that he was involved in it. Oh my goodness.
A new friendship and a mom healing by helping.
Everybody loves Todd's mom. Everybody loves Todd's mom.
I don't believe that some things are coincidences. I think they're supposed to work out a certain way sometimes.
Oh, that was meant to be. There's no doubt about that. The connection that they had before, just an incredible story there.
Very emotional.
Yes.
Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, more Americans seek cheaper health care outside the U.S., but we discovered there's plenty that can go wrong.
Mine was the worst case scenario.
We have an in-depth look at the risks and benefits of medical tourism and why it's critical to do your homework.